Every day, millions of people reheat leftovers without realizing that this habit may create conditions associated with the development of one of the most dangerous types of cancer. As a physician, I want to make one thing clear first. Reheating food does not automatically cause cancer. But before pressing the reheat button, ask yourself, is the food on your plate one of these 5 foods that require special caution? First, leftover rice. After rice is cooked, it may still contain spores of Bacillus cereus. If rice is left at room temperature for too long, these bacteria can grow and produce toxins. What is concerning is that some of these toxins are not easily destroyed completely, even after reheating. The correct approach is, after eating, do not leave rice on the table or in the rice cooker for too long. Ideally, divide the rice into shallow containers so it can cool quickly, then refrigerate it as soon as possible, preferably within 1 to 2 hours. When reheating, heat it until the rice is evenly hot and steaming throughout, with no cold spots in the center. Reheat only the amount you plan to eat. And do not reheat it repeatedly. If the rice smells sour, feels slimy, has abnormal clumping, or has been left out overnight, discard it. Second, potatoes. Cooked potatoes can become contaminated with bacteria if left out for too long. In addition, when potatoes are fried or baked until they become too dark, overly browned, or charred at the edges, they may produce acrylamide, a compound that is not beneficial to health when exposure is frequent and prolonged. The correct approach is, cooked potatoes should be refrigerated early and should not be left in the kitchen for many hours. When reheating, warm them sufficiently and evenly. Do not refry them repeatedly, just to make them crispier. Avoid letting the food turn dark brown, charred at the edges, or blackened. If there are burnt areas, cut them off. Third, leafy green vegetables, such as spinach, mustard greens, and celery. These vegetables naturally contain nitrates. Leafy greens are still highly beneficial for health, but if cooked vegetables are left out for too long, bacteria may convert nitrates into nitrites. Under certain conditions, nitrites can react with amino acids to form nitrosamines, a group of compounds associated with carcinogenic risk. The correct approach is, cooked vegetables are best eaten during the same meal. If there are leftovers, cool them quickly, place them in a clean, sealed container, and store them in the refrigerator. Do not leave them overnight at room temperature. When reheating, reheat only once and heat until evenly hot. For young children, pregnant women, older adults, or people with weakened immune systems, freshly cooked vegetables are preferable to reheated vegetables. Fourth, processed meats, such as sausages, smoked meats, ham, or bacon. This is a group that deserves more attention because of its long-term cancer risk. Health organizations have reported that processed meats are associated with colorectal cancer when consumed frequently over a long period of time. But I want to emphasize this. Reheating one sausage does not mean you will develop cancer. The risk comes from repeated consumption, the amount consumed, and the method of preparation, especially when these foods are fried or grilled until charred. The correct approach is, sausages, bacon, ham, and smoked meats should not be considered everyday foods. If you eat them, heat them only until sufficiently warm, and avoid frying them repeatedly or grilling them until charred. Do not eat blackened or burnt portions. A better choice is to replace them more often with fresh meat, fish, eggs, tofu, legumes, or chicken breast. When eating meat, pair it with leafy greens and fiber-rich foods to support gut health. Fifth, repeatedly used cooking oil and old fried foods. When oil is heated many times at high temperatures, it degrades, becomes darker, develops a rancid or burnt odor, foams, and can produce harmful compounds such as aldehydes. These compounds may cause irritation, promote oxidative stress, trigger inflammatory responses, and increase the body's metabolic burden if exposure occurs frequently. The correct approach is, do not reuse oil that has turned dark, smells burnt, foams, becomes thick, or contains burnt residue. Do not refry foods multiple times just to make them crispier. If you need to reheat fried food, use an oven, an air fryer at moderate heat, or lightly pan warm it instead of deep frying it again. I understand that in a busy life, saving leftovers is completely normal. We do not want to waste food, we do not always have time to cook a fresh meal, And sometimes a serving of rice, a bowl of soup, or a few pieces of meat can help the whole family have a quick meal. There is nothing wrong with that. But what I want to remind you is this: saving food is good, but do not save food at the expense of your body's safety. Health is not protected only by medication or routine checkups, but also by the very small choices we make in the kitchen every day. So after watching this video, do not just remember the information. Turn it into practical action. Before reheating any leftover food, pause for a few seconds and check whether it belongs to one of the 5 food groups I have just mentioned. And keep these 3 most important principles in mind. Refrigerate leftovers within 2 hours after cooking. Reheat thoroughly until the entire dish is evenly hot. And do not reheat food repeatedly. If the food smells sour, feels slimy, has changed color, or you are not sure whether it was stored properly, the safest choice is not to eat it. Health is not protected by fear, but by the right choices repeated every day. Eat more wisely, more safely, and more kindly toward your own body.
I'm Dr. Monica Bellamy, here with you on the journey to better health every day.